Are you ready to shoot the shift? Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Brendan, Mystic Spider-Man, and this is our first inaugural broadcast of a new format that we are doing called Shooting the Shift. And this is going to be an opportunity for us to be able to come together as a community, to be able to just have some fun, to be able to invite some people from the audience, from the community, live onto Instagram, just to be able to practice exploring the metaphysical mysteries and to be able to talk about life and to share some inspiration from our hearts together. So we're going to be getting things rolling here, and yeah, I'm super excited just to be able to play around with this format. I've already got a good handful of people that have expressed interest in just being able to be a part of what it is that we're creating here. And I think my buddy Craig is actually going to be joining on in about 1 minute. So I'll just take an opportunity here just to be able to thank everyone and just kind of like set the stage. Shooting the Shift is presented to you by Paradigm Shift Central. If you haven't already checked it out yet, Paradigm Shift Central is a global community being able to bring together people who are passionate about helping assist with the shift in consciousness. We've got a Discord server. I've got a Patreon. We've got broadcasts all throughout the week. And you're more than welcome to be able to join in for it if you resonate with what this broadcast is about as well. You can find all the links you need through my profile link and join the Discord, join the Patreon, and yeah, tune in for more of the Shooting the Shift. These are going to be something that we're going to be doing once a week on Mondays at 4 p.m. EDT. So make a habit, make this a part of your routine, join in live, join in whenever you get a chance. And yeah, thank you so much, each and every single one of you, for checking this out live, for checking it out afterwards. And please feel free to leave your comments of support. Welcome to those of you who are tuned in. Hey Jessica, thank you so much for joining in. Hey Borba, thank you so much for joining in as well. And yeah, as I just take this opportunity to practice shooting the shift, and we'll bring Craig on in the next couple minutes and anybody else as we get going. If you guys want to jump on air with us, just send an invite. We're going to play around with this because I know we can actually bring on like multiple people on air. So we're going to be just kind of like experimenting with this. I love the idea of just kind of like doing something that we haven't really done before and just using this format to be able to practice creating space for the community. So we got lots of other events happening through the community. We've got Team Podcast Thursday evening. We've got Paradigm Shift Circles Wednesdays at 4 p.m. EDT on our Discord server. We've got Conscious Creator Collaborative Periods Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on our Discord server, on our Zoom calls. And yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. And I think everybody here, if you're here, I invite you to just be able to tap in with your heart and just check in, like what excites you? What excites you about the world these days? Where do you find inspiration? What wakes you up in the morning? What puts you to sleep with a smile at night? What keeps you up and late and when you're exploring the metaphysical mysteries? What questions have yet to be answered? So Craig, I can see you jumping in. If you want to join on air, go ahead and send a little invite request there, and I'd be more than happy to be able to bring you up. And again, as we do this, one of the things that's really exciting is that this is a chance for us to cross promote other creators within the community. So when people come up on air, they're going to be people that I know. They're going to be, in some cases, people that we're just getting to meet, and they're going to be an opportunity for us to just be able to say like, hey, like introduce yourself and tell us about all the awesome things that you do as well, and what wisdom that you are here to be able to share. So yeah, this is just another discussion related to the collective shift in consciousness. And yeah, I'm super excited just to be able to create this space. So we're going to get things rolling. Craig is jumping on air. So let's bring Craig on air, and yeah, let's practice shooting the shift. So Craig, I'm going to bring you up on air and joining in. So for everybody here, join me in welcoming Craig on air in the next moment. And Craig's a super awesome dude. Does a lot of meditation, fellow Jedi. So Craig, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to Shooting the Shift, brother.
Lots of love, man. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be talking to you, man. I've followed your stuff for such a long time.
Here we go. Like, this is exactly why this broadcast exists, right? I mean, a clear example, like Craig, you and I, we've been in contact through like DMs and stuff. Never have we had a voice call or anything quite of this nature, but man, I've been following your work. Literally just saw your post up a little bit earlier today of you doing like double bladed, like bow staff, double bladed, blue lightsaber, just spinning it and stuff like that. Dude, that's awesome, man. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. It's funny, I've just got back from a festival over the weekend. It's called the Lost Village. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and I brought up the Lucidity Festival, which I watched your video years back, man. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. I'd love to, like, please tell us about the festival. Tell us how that went, man. Cause like, man, I could shoot the shift about transformational festivals all day, man. So what was it called? What was the festival called again?
Lost Village. So it's like out in the woods, Lost Village. Yeah, dude, it was great.
That like reminds me of like, it's like the Lost Village of like Zelda too. Like it's like the Forest Lost Village or something like that. How was it?
Yeah, man. Oh, it was incredible, incredible. It's the first time I've been to a full festival. It's been over a few days. And honestly, man, I'm not joking when I say it. The first one I ever saw that I thought I want to go to that kind of festival. It was the Lucidity one that you were at, and it's the inspiration from that. It was a similar kind of vibe. A lot of really open, cool people, spiritual, conscious, and God, they had so much going on around the sides. You know, a lot of things, a lot of people dressed up, walking around, climbing trees, the lights everywhere, and talks, poetry. Art, man, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. A lot of openness, you know, that helps you get into the flow with other people, not hide anything about yourself, just share how you're feeling and bring the best out of everyone is incredible.
That's awesome, man. And you got to show up in your Jedi avatar form and everything like that. Did people come up to you and they're like, dude, I love your lightsabers and stuff? Did you get a few of those?
Yeah, I tell you what, mate, it was crazy. I just popped my lights out one bit, my lightsaber, just put them together. I'm just gonna have a little play and like a circle formed up, and I thought, okay, just have a little go. And at the end of it, what people say, you know, it was just really touched me. It's very inspirational, very encouraging about they loved it. Just all I was doing was the art, something that really inspires me that I have fun with. And the way that it touches other people when you're being yourself or you're showing your true self, which can be difficult at times. So you see the recognition in there because it helps light other people up to do what they want to do, you know, the reflection is there. You do you. That fire ignites the fire or the spark in somebody else, and we just keep passing that on, you know. Oh, beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. Like I remember again, like what, like you said, like going to Lucidity Festival and stuff like that. Like, dude, like walking around a festival with a lightsaber is just like one of the coolest experiences like in my life, and it's just like, oh, I have so many memories. Like even you know, like so Lacey, my partner, who you know, like we're having a baby and everything like that. Like that's cool.
Yeah, amazing! Congratulations,
oh, dude,
man.
Thank you, man. That's I mean, yeah, maybe we'll talk about that fatherhood and just like, you know, the whole thing there. But you know, there's one of the festivals that we went to, super amazing local festival, and that was like the first time that I really got to kind of like show up in a festival where it was like with a partner in that way. And so like we both were basically dressed up like Jedi, and like I had my purple lightsaber and the red lightsaber. I'm like, which one do you want? And she's just like, red lightsaber, right? Like, give me the red lightsaber. And I'm like, oh, of course you're gonna choose the red lightsaber. And dude, like she had like this there's footage of this too. Like I haven't even posted footage. This is like years ago. But she had this like beautiful like red outfit on, and she looked like almost like a fire princess, like a Fire Nation princess. So it was like almost like kind of like cross blending like Avatar kind of themes, but it was like Sith, like red Jedi sort of themes, and just like, and literally, you know, just like the joy of us just kind of like walking down the path, and then just kind of like, you know, having our lightsabers, and then sometimes just like even like spinning and dueling on the spot, and even just, you know, there are multiple times where, and we've done this a couple times at festival, where you're doing that, and you know, and people come up to you and they're just like, whoa, like who are you? Like who are you? Like I want to know who you are. Like you guys look interesting, and then, you know, you end up talking to them and stuff like that. And one of the things I really enjoy is with the lightsaber, and maybe you got to experience this too, is, you know, you can share it with someone. So someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, like, you know, like that's so cool, and then you're like, do you want to try it? And you just see them light up, and it's like, and what I love to do, I love to when I hand the lightsaber to people, I hand it to them, and I just take a moment. I'm like, this is, remember, like this lightsaber is a symbol of you. This lightsaber is a symbol of the power you hold, right? Like the lightsaber is like this ancient sword, so it's like their personal Excalibur. So like when you give it to them, you know, you pass it on to them, and it's not just like this flow toy. There's like, oh, like this is it, like this is life right here. And they're just like, you see their face light up, and you just let them play with it, and you're just kind of standing off to the side, and just, man, like a lightsaber is much more than just a lightsaber. Absolutely. So but yeah,
it's a really good point. Like I registered the same thing, because after, you know, doing a bit of performance and people just rushing over and talking like, man, that was amazing. Are you professionals? Like, no, I just do it for fun and enjoy it. And just talking to so many people about it. And one of the guys said it's great that you're doing this kind of thing, that you just do it for fun, you know, without payment or working there, because we need to see more art. One of the guys said it was the highlight of his festival. I was like, mind blown. Like, how? You know, I'm just having some fun. The fact that so many people love this thing, or the lightsaber, lights themselves, or the expression of art, just getting off your back to do it because you love to do it. There's so much in it, man, about having fun, having more play in our lives and what that does for us, and not neglecting the inner child that gets a bit pushed to the side as you stiffen up and turn into an adult. And it'll be interesting to see the effects of that when your child comes out, man, and what your inner child relates to the kid.
Swinging a lightsaber right out of the womb, like, no doubt, man. Like it's gonna be like its own like little like baby Yoda, I'm sure. So, but yeah. Oh, dude, like. Because I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like, and it's not just the lightsaber. It's like the mythos of the Jedi. So like when people see the lightsaber, like right away, they're just like, boom! It's like an entire fractal of what the Jedi is to them. And like even for you, like like what is like? Do you see the parallels between like the mythos of Star Wars and the Jedi, and like what we're doing to help shift consciousness? Like for us, and I'm kind of like, it's kind of like a redundant question, but we'll dive into it. For us, like, when we go to a festival, like, it's not just like we're cosplaying as a Jedi. It's like, no, like this is actually like, this is us. Like this is literally us, like dressing out, like dressing into this version of the avatar, which is, the light guardian archetype that I talk a lot about in the community. So that's where when I like bring out the lightsaber and stuff like that, it's just like helping people see. It's just like, there's a part of that inside of them. But yeah, I mean, what do you think when you think of the Jedi and consciousness and the parallels there? Like, I mean, surely it's inspired you, eh?
100%, 100%. It was, I got into Star Wars quite late, actually, and there was a reason I think I was pushing it off through my teenage years. And, always loved the hero's journey, stories along those lines. Big fan of Lord of the Rings, the superhero films, Matrix, of course, #1 movie for me. But yeah, the hero's journey was a big deal in my life. And for some reason, Star Wars, I always kind of was resistant to it. And I ended up watching it in my early 20s. And from that point on, man, absolutely hooked. The philosophy behind it, looking at where George Lucas was getting his ideas from. I'm a big studier in the Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Eastern mythology, Gnosticism, pre-Christianity. Absolutely love all this stuff. And then to see how well Star Wars brings this through storytelling in the modern world, and even the ties into dogma, in the prequel trilogy, and what happens to Anakin, and how if you just blindly follow rules and laws of what you think is right, but your feelings tell you otherwise, where that can lead us. So yeah, and I love the ideals of the Jedi Council and bringing that to life through this kind of work, because for me, I try to look at things not as in yes or no, right or wrong, but in the content of energy, how the energy feels, how the emotion feels, and what I will do with that, how I can transform that, or do I meditate and let it go, or do I act it out freely, and being aware of that. And I think the Jedi ideals, how they train and teach and balance and serenity, like there's so much in it, man. Every time I go through those films, it's like I can apply that into my life, take it through with when I teach breathwork, all about intuition and feeling and releasing and letting go, and in a safe container to do so. And once you've had those experiences of the dark side, of the feelings we kind of neglect and cut off, you learn how to channel it and use it effectively. And even if you want to take up training with the staff or the sabers, channeling your emotion and your energy into an art form, like it's constant. It doesn't give up with such a beautiful story.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Like, absolutely, man. And like, that's where, like, again, for everybody here, so like I'll let Craig explain it, because like, Craig, you do a lot of like breath work exercise. So I mean, like, that's the thing, man. Like, it's like you're dressing up as a Jedi, but then like after the festival, like you're still doing that. You're still, leading people back into the heart space, into the kind of like the Jedi mythos, just by connecting to like their own inner energy. But yeah, I mean, we can talk more about the Jedi stuff here and there, and you just let me know if you gotta jump out at any point. You just let me know. Again, we're pretty impromptu here, but I'd love to give you a chance to just kind of, tell people a little bit about what you do and who you are. And honestly, like, for everybody who's tuning into this live or after, and we'll upload this to YouTube, be sure to connect with Craig. Like, Craig's like one of the amazing people that I'm more than happy to be able to direct more people to. And it's an honor just being able to synchronistically have more Jedis in our networks and everything like that. So if you guys are looking for like a really cool dude, and you happen to be in like UK, like whereabouts in the UK are you, like region wise?
Manchester. I'm in Manchester.
So if you happen to be like in Manchester, like, Craig hosts like breathwork work sessions and everything like that. So, but yeah, Craig, maybe just tell us a little bit about, like breathwork and just kind of like the story there, maybe how you got into it, and, tell it to us as if we don't know anything about it. I think a lot of people would be interested to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate the platform to share it out. I'll try and condense the story because it's quite a long one. So if it goes too far, just reel me back in, man.
Cool.
So originally I got into a holistic lifestyle. I was a personal trainer back from when I was 19, so always working in gyms. And that was through, I wanted to join the fire service. There was nothing to me size-wise or muscle-wise, so I thought I'll have to go to the gym. And there was a fella there who taught me everything. So kind, gave me his time, gave me his knowledge for no money, just trained me up. And the changes I felt physically, that I saw physically, but also what I felt that was coming from my psychology of confidence or ability to do more or feel more comfortable just being in my own skin. I was like, this is what I want to do for people. So I got into personal training. As that journey went on, it started to change. You know, in my early 20s, it was very much going out, drinking, partying, that kind of stuff, and training for vanity, really, for size and how the image looks. And then a friend of mine asked me, do you want to go to meditation? And I thought, yeah, ninjas meditate. Ninjas are cool. I'll go give it a try. Yeah. I went to my local Buddhist center, and the only option they had was meditation with the Buddhist classes. And I was never really interested in spirituality that much, man. I was interested in space, the universe, infinite expansion, which I recognize is spirituality, but I'd never seen it that way. And anyway, doing this meditation, I was fortunate and blessed to have a very powerful experience, closing my eyes, going into meditation, and my thoughts just went, my mind went. And I was like, what was this? You know, what is this experience? I need to understand what I've just gone through. That led me to going into more Buddhist courses over the next 2 to 3 years. But within that moment of understanding consciousness or coming across this word, I researched the heck out of it, man. I was looking at psychedelics, never done them in the past other than smoking weed. So I thought, okay, let's look at this. Ayahuasca came up. I was like, wow, that sounds intense. Let's build up. It recommended magic mushrooms, but hearing just the horror stories of people being chased by dragons, you know, all the madness of these false stories or people doing the medicines wrong came to my mind. Like, well, I don't want that. So I'll go with somebody that I trust. Where it was legal at the time, me and my friends went to Amsterdam. I took a pack of the smallest mushrooms, which was like 1 star out of 5. Incredible experience. The next day I went back. I got 2 packs of the strongest one, which was 5 stars. And that just literally changed my life of how I saw connection and life and understanding consciousness and God. And it actually, I became vegetarian after that. Eventually went vegan down the line. And yeah, so I was on this consciousness experience. But prior to that, I actually had I got into lucid dreaming through Tibetan Buddhism and practice of dream yoga. So the art of, obviously, you know, lucidity to the T, man, but becoming awake in the dream state. And I recognized that a feeling I had in this lucid dream when I became awake was like kind of a fountain going off in the center of my brain, later discovering it was a pineal gland. That same feeling occurred when I took mushrooms. So I put this link together. It's like, oh, it feels like there's something that we can access naturally if it happened in a dream state just by awareness, and this same feeling and sensations occurring with a plant. Maybe we can do this natural. Anyway, years later, lots of study and lots of practice in this stuff, getting into forms of yoga. I eventually got into doing a Kriya. You may be familiar with Sadhguru and the Isha Foundation. Followed his work for a long time. I was actually meant to be his ashram for 7 months in June, but COVID changed the direction for me. Life does what it wants. It knows a lot more than I do. So I did this Kriya through the Isha Foundation, and it was just breathwork, mantra, and meditation. After some warm-up asanas and practices, and man, I tripped like I'd taken something. It was like psychedelics. And it was that point then, it was like, we can do all this naturally. Yeah. We're the key, we're the answer. You know, I came into Wim Hof's works, Dan Brule, and I thought breathwork has just been a perfect fit. Just delivered a session at the festival for around 60 people there. And every time it feels like the first time, getting people to go into the breath state where you can allow your emotions to come through. There's so much in our conscious mind that will block these doors of feeling and sensations, like we mentioned earlier, the inner child, or don't laugh, you're not allowed to cry. For me, I had a lot of suppressed anger and a lot of suppressed tears. I hadn't cried for like 6-7 years at one point. So diving into this work was so powerful for me to feel these emotions come through without having to think where they're coming from or logically understand them, or even if you don't want to talk about them out loud at a certain point, you don't have to. You just get to feel with no commentary, no limits, and start to understand this oneness that comes through as the unconscious gets to come out. All the trapped energy in the myofascia can finally be released and can complete its energetical circuit without limits. And honestly, like just how people are in the sessions, what they experience and what they feel. And they're doing it, man. You know, I might guide and get to curate the playlists, but it's you, as you said, with the Jedi and the lightsaber, this is in you. And you get to feel it and know your power and have that direct experience and understand meditation on a deeper level, and then get to live it outside of breathwork. And man, it's magic, absolutely magic.
It's beautiful, dude. Man, like, I mean, I can only imagine, like, so like the in-person sessions that you're doing now, you know, after someone does that, like one session like that can completely change someone's life, you know, like, because, you know, within one session, it just has this opportunity to really just like move energy. And I think that's a lot of like what the breath work is about, amongst other things. It's just being able to kind of like regulate the circuit of energy and to just kind of clear out the stagnancy. I mean, correct, like if you feel like that's like a good way of interpreting it, because you're more experienced in being able to like facilitate, like obviously I facilitate meditation, but the fact that you've like focused like so deep into this breath work, man, like, you know, it's interesting because it's just, this is just, again, just shooting the shift here. The other day, just kind of like bridging mainstream stuff and everything like that. A lot of people may or may not have seen this. Jake Paul was like in a boxing fight with another like big like boxing person. I forget the name at least. But anyways, Jake Paul, big YouTuber and everything like that. A lot of people know him for ridiculous reasons. But it was interesting because I saw a post and he has actually been practicing breath work with like a very well-known guy that I originally heard of through Aubrey Marcus. So Aubrey Marcus, who has his own podcast and everything like that, he's like, dude, like this breath work guy changed my life. So Jake Paul, and again, it's weird because we're talking about mainstream, but there's a reason here, because like Jake Paul, as crazy and as many people hate him, like he's asking questions. He's going through his own awakening as much as everyone is. And there was an image where he had this boxing fight, and the day before the boxing fight, which happened like yesterday, so the day before, he went into the ring with his breathwork teacher, sat down in the ring and did breathwork, and then just like kind of like imagined visualizing, he like imagined the scenario of winning the fight while meditating in the ring before it happened. And lo and behold, he won. You know, so it's like kind of like this idea that it's like, well, first of all, you know, on one thing, it's like the fight begins before you even get into the ring. And I think that is like a metaphor for life. You know, like the best way to be able to get out of a situation is to be able to like, you know, like resolve how you enter it in the first place. So, you know, it's like, rather than it getting to the point where it's like, oh no, I'm losing the fight, it's too late. You know, it's like you want to be able to have those methods and those options in the first place. So, you know, when you take the time to be able to regulate breath work and things like that, this is where it changes people's lives, especially when you start giving them coping mechanisms, where people who are living with things like anxiety and things like this, you know, like rather than having the moment where you get into anxiety and then you're trying to figure out what to do, you know, like instead you can reroute around it when you can identify and then, you know, use your methods such as breath work to be able to just kind of like co-regulate and really just kind of like parasympathetic breathing and just changing the body. And it's interesting because, and again, we're just shooting the shift right now and I'm just kind of connecting fractals, but even for, so for Lacey, again, she's having a baby in April and stuff like that. This is her second child. And, you know, a big thing is her like practicing meditation before the birth. And she did this the first time. So she's just like, oh, you know, like I really got to practice my breath work and everything. So I'm going to talk to her about this and just be like, oh, we were talking to Craig about breath work and stuff like that, because, you know, especially for, you know, and women who have given birth, feel free to leave your comments in the chat. Like the importance of breath work, even in the moment of birth, is like, there's a quote that my buddy from Lucidity, Jesse, the guy who you see in Lucidity, who's like the guy that I'm doing training and sparring with, my fellow brother Jedi, and he says this in the movie. He says, you know, like the breath will guide you through anything. The breath will guide you through anything. And I think that's such a powerful idea, because, you know, you could be going through like the heaviest, crappiest, stressful experience, but even still, it's like the breath will guide you. You know, even in those moments where I'm sure some people can relate to this, where, you know, they might be kind of like feeling waves of anxiety, or even in the midst of like a psychedelic experience, what's the best thing you can do? Bring your awareness to your breath. The breath will guide you through anything. So, you know, for anybody here, if you're feeling a little bit stressed, if you're, you know, preparing to do a big speech, if you're going into a circumstance that's a little bit challenging, take that moment to really bring your awareness to your breath. Because when you do that, you know, that's kind of like, it's like tuning the instrument you know, it's taking that extra moment to just kind of like bring things into alignment and then like bring that mindfulness with you into everything you do. And again, you know, with you, with the breathwork sessions you do, you're giving people like these like deep sessions, and then it holographically affects like, you know, like the rest of their week, the rest of their month, the rest of their life, theoretically, especially if it's like moving things that have been kind of like holding on to them for so long. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Craig. And I just want to mention, Joshua, I know you're tuned in right now. Joshua, if you want to join into this, because we can bring a couple people on air. Joshua, I want to be able to invite you on air specifically because I feel like you'd have be able to, because I saw your comment earlier and I know you'd be able to jump in with what we're vibing with here. So, but yeah, Craig, again, just shooting the shift here, man. Like, I know I said a few things there. Go ahead.
Oh, mate, you said it so well. I mean, you summed it up so well and brought up some really good points. I think with the anxiety and stress is a big deal. PTSD, anxiety, you know, a lot of the times we can know that anxiety might come in a certain state, but not do anything about it. Just waiting if, you know, I worked with a friend once who would get anxiety going on to public transport, you know, whether it's the trams or the buses. And she would still put herself through this process, but not work on it on the outside. It was just more of a head thing, like, oh, why do I just get anxious when I go on it and accept it. And it's, I mean, that brings in a lot of awareness of pains and stiffness and tensions that we hold in our body, and we just get on with it. You know, we just don't think, we think that's who we are, or it can't be treated or healed. Yet when you bring your awareness into breath work and you can allow these emotions to come through, and you, as I said before, you don't need to know why they're there, but just working with the energy of it and allowing the anxiety or the stress or the tension or the tears to be there will very often start to dissolve the issues for ourselves, because it's no longer being pushed away and we're not fearing it, because the fear itself is really, you see, it comes from that past experience, not wanting to feel a particular way. And we then perpetuate the feeling because we think, well, if I do that, I'm going to feel that way. But when we can start to breathe into that feeling and allow it, and we can take the mind out of it and we see, oh, it's an energy. Okay, it's not really these images that I'm projecting about what's going to happen because of what's happened previously, or even our mind just creating the imaginary scenario ourselves. And it can create so much freedom from that point by going, it's a feeling, it's an energy, it's okay. And the more we expose ourselves gradually to that over time, the easier it becomes, you know? And once you're doing breath work, I mean, private sessions are great, but doing them in a group, they've both got massive pros. You do breath work in a group and you can hear somebody who lets go of an emotion. And first timers might be like, whoa, someone shouted, what's going on? Or I've heard people think they're in a cult before, you know, with the sound that's going on. And it's funny, man, but it's people letting go. And when they do that, it allows somebody else to go, I can too. Like what we're saying about the festivals and bringing the lightsaber and the Jedi, where it's you inspire by being your true light. When somebody releases that sound, that pain, that laughter, that emotion, somebody else knows, it's all right for me to do that, you know? And then it just, boom, wildfires, and we start releasing, and we will become the full-fledged individuals that we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like 100%, man. It's kind of like that idea where, you know, like it's like a big part of becoming ourselves is to get out of our own way, or to learn not just who we are, but to who we are not. And then being able to kind of like change our relationship with a lot of the stuff that we relate to and the paradigm that we see ourselves through. And man, you kind of said something there that, oh man, like this, like for people in the chat, if you resonate with this, you know, drop some 1111s. If anything, any of us say resonate, drop those 1111s. That's a good little indicator and stuff like that. And thank you again to those of you who are tuned in. This is our first inaugural episode of Shooting the Shift. We're going to do this Mondays at 4 p.m. EDT. Recordings for this are going to be up on YouTube Skull Babylon, as well as on Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio. So make sure you jump over there and check out the recordings afterwards if you ever miss these. And yeah, we'll be doing plenty more of these. But what I was going to say is that, you know, oftentimes, just to reiterate, oftentimes what perpetuates the discomfort is our resistance to the discomfort. You know, like that's opposed to, you know, being able to like observe the discomfort and then, you know, almost to kind of like be able to like get curious about it. And to be able to kind of like look deeper and be like, oh, like, where is this pointing to? Where is this rooting from? Where is this, you know, where is this originating? And it may have been something like way back. And then again, you know, you use the breath and like we think of the breath as just like this like thing that we just do. It's just so common, but it's like, dude, like the breath is magical. Like the breath is literally like this, like it's your breath, like you breathing, like that is like the breath of God. It's like the breath of the universe. You know, it's the expansion contraction. It's the heartbeat. It's the birth and death of an entire nebula, all within your microcosm as well. So, you know, when you're breathing, you're not just pumping your lungs, you're literally like moving energy. And so I think where we really reclaim our power as Jedis and you know, as these human beings, these beautiful spectrums, is when we realize that, you know, with each breath is a chance to literally be able to direct the flow of our life force energy, to direct the force, to connect with the force. So rather than just breathing unconsciously, what happens when you breathe consciously? And this is where, you know, when you breathe consciously, you can actually find places within yourself where you may be holding tension, and you can dissolve it through thought. You can dissolve it through willpower. And, you know, like even just like getting into deeper practices of breath work, you know, like just allowing yourself to like man, like there's a million things that breathwork can do, and I think oftentimes like people just don't really understand because they haven't really been given the instructions. And that's where, you know, someone like yourself, I really appreciate what you do, and it's so cool that your dharma has kind of like led you into this path, because, you know, if we're not breathing, we're not living. And how many of us, you know, go throughout our day just like breathing unconsciously? Whereas if we're breathing consciously, it's not just the energy that we're directing in our body, it's like the energy that we're directing through our physical actions as well. You know, it's kind of like, it's like, okay, I've got a task that I'm going to accomplish today. And you like move it, like you move that energy. It's like this qi gong sort of like practice that can happen all throughout your day. So it's okay to kind of move through stages where you're not really conscious of your breath, but when you become conscious of your unconscious, that's the chance to, you know, create that consciousness. So, and you know, like the breath is the key. The breath is life. The breath is something that I think the more people take the time to breathe, the more we'll really be able to just kind of like do things that we're here to do and live this beautiful life. And I know that sounds like a simple way of putting it, man, but it's like, oh, like Craig, back to you. I know Joshua's going to jump in the next little bit, man, but
That's so many things.
Work here, man. Even if you want to, like, if you want to remind us to breathe now as we're just getting excited, like, because I'm curious, you know, like, so, do you do online sessions? Like, do you do like people and stuff? Yeah. So if people want to connect with Craig, do it. Definitely connect with Craig. Send him a direct message. Let him know that you saw him through Shooting the Shift. Maybe we'll be able to like give you some sort of like special offer and things like that. And if you're in Manchester, connect with Craig again. And yeah, again, Craig, because Joshua's going to join us in the next little bit. Like, I'm just curious, like when you lead people through a breathwork session, you know, like what does that look like? Is there kind of like a certain kind of like process to kind of like get them into that state? And I mean, I was saying a few things there. If there's something else you were going to say before that comes.
So I need to know, but man, you just say things so beautifully. I resonate with how you speak and the philosophical tone and the poetry of it. There's a lot in there, but one thing just to touch on before that question was, as you said, the relationship we have with the breath is something I believe that we need to deepen. It's our understanding of the force of consciousness. It's an interaction with it. It's happening consistently, and it shows our state of awareness. Something that really improved my lucid dreaming wasn't so much techniques, which always help. It was meditating on a clear mind more, using the breath. And that awareness itself of the breath permeated into my dream state. So there was more lucidity naturally by virtue of meditating or following the breath. And in the sessions, what I recall upon often is, as soon as you're born, you come out of the womb, you're taking your first breath. The last thing before you leave this chapter of universal life is the breath. It's the last thing to leave you. So it's from womb to tomb occasion. That breath is with us throughout. And we can create more of a symbiotic relationship with the breath, which will enhance our life. You know, everything I do my work for holistically is mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. And the breath will tap into every single one of them elements. You know, I've had people who are really far out into spirituality and have a very physical, grounded session because it was what they required. And I've had people who were they were open to the session, but not into any of the spiritual context or what they will experience. And they've had their visions or dreams come through, or memories of the past come through that are released. And it changes how they think. And yeah, I mean, what can you say about the breath? It's absolutely in everything we do. The way that we're breathing is affecting how we think and the quality of thoughts that we have. You mentioned the parasympathetic nervous system earlier. If we're just breathing in now, and we can all just do a check, where's your breath? Is it the belly? Is it the chest? Is it the throat? If it's up here towards the chest and the throat, we're stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic being fight or flight response. We're ready to fight, fight, or freeze. While when we breathe into the belly, parasympathetic, paradise. So we breathe low, bring paradise in with the parasympathetic belly breaths. That alone will start to change the system, because it's in a breathwork session, you will fluctuate between these two states. And you'll go into hypoarousal and hyperarousal, which is where someone might breathe really fast in the hyper, and they can go into their traumas or their deep emotions that need to be released of the unconscious, and then you can guide them back down. And they might drop a little bit too low into the hypoarousal, where they almost go into a corpse mode where their breathing is very shallow. Their nervous system might just need to relax, but obviously we can't stay there, so you bring people back up. And once you become quite experienced with knowing your responses to breath work, you can start to guide and direct that yourself. And even taking the faster breathing, somebody in the comments mentioned breath and Kundalini energy.
Yeah.
I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher as well, so I like to tie these together at the start of a session, which was your question, is I like to get movements going. So I get people into their bodies, because I'm not sure how it is for you, man, or in your neck of the woods, but in the UK, there's a lot of people we're very stiff. We're a tight culture, we're not that expressive really. There's a lot of British stiff upper lip mentality over here, and please and thank yous and cues. We like to cue, all these stereotypes you probably hear are quite true. So it's breaking through these layers by first getting people into the body, like this incredible vehicle with all these cells, an army at the command of your thoughts and your feelings. They listen to everything. So we want to clear out, get the body feeling good, get a smile, get into the music, feel what your body can do. And then go into a few different styles of breath work. So it'll be a few Kundalini yoga movements, then the breath of fire, the tumo, which cleanses your organs. It generates that heat. It's how the monks can dry wet sheets in the winter by their own body temperature. And I just did some cold immersion therapy with a friend at the festival, where we do breath work and then we go into the cold water, and you just realize the energy and the power. And it is an energy. You're not cold, you're not hot. What's the energy? And for me, I actually worked on my resistance to love going into this. I did my breath work, tears streaming, no thoughts why, just tears were coming down, generated this sense of, okay, I need to let love in. This cold water I'm about to feel is me allowing love. The cold I try to reject or resist is my rejection of love. So I just let it all in, and it was beautiful. It was incredible. Like the water just flooded in. There was no resistance, And that's through the combination of breath and, as you said, the mind and what we visualize. And we can take these tools into our practice, or we can let it go and see what the breath will bring us. We don't have to push it hard and fast, which stimulates that DMT response with that quicker breath. We can slow the breath, still continuous and flow without a pause, but slow, full breaths, drop the nervous system, and watch people who are living a stressed adrenal state just relax and soften and crumble and allow emotion to come through.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, man. I love just being able to listen to you talk about it, and I hope for everybody here, if you're inspired to be a little bit more mindful of your breath, drop those 1111s in the chat, because again, our life gets so busy, and honestly, there have been days where it's like literally, it'll be like later in the day, I'll just like, did I pay attention to my breath once today? Like I woke up, I checked my phone, I made food, I was on the computer, and it's like literally not until the end of the day that I'm just like, okay, right? So it's like, like when you allow yourself to just kind of create those moments within the day as part of your routine, before you even pick up your phone. For everybody here, I invite you to do this as something you can start tomorrow, like literally tomorrow, before you pick up your phone, program yourself to be able to do just like 10 breaths. Just 10 breaths before you even touch your phone, and just maybe just sit on the bed and just use that space to just be able to observe. It's more than just the breath. It's a moment to be able to kind of like empty the mind, to kind of empty the cup, to fill your cup with love, if you want to think of it that way. So I'm definitely inspired just by being able to have this conversation, just be able to be a little bit more mindful of the breath. And Craig, again, I know we're just kind of jumping on here and just kind of going with the flow stuff, but dude, I'd love to be able to, again, just kind of like, if we want to collaborate and do some special breathwork stuff for the community, I'd love to be able to have you facilitate that, man, because I mean, that's the thing, right?
It'd be a pleasure.
Dude, like absolutely, like we've all kind of got like our niches and our expertise, and I'm so glad that like you've dedicated the hours you have to that version of expertise, to that breath work, because like I'm excited to just be able to learn a little bit more from what it is that you have to offer. And I think, again, for all of us here, for all the Jedis, being able to really just kind of like take just like like an hour, even just an hour a month, just like learning about the breath can like holographically affect the rest of our life. Because it just, until we become aware of it, we're just doing it unconsciously, right? And I think what's interesting, and I know Joshua is going to join on air shortly, and Craig, if you're able to stick around to the top of the hour, please do, but otherwise we'll keep flowing here. And it's interesting because like the human body, and you guys let me know if you resonate with this, like, man, like the human body, to me, I perceive it as like one of the most advanced forms of like technology like on this planet. Like it's not just like this like thing that we're in. Like this is like a spacesuit. Like, like what we are is like this nervous system, but then we're surrounded by like this spacesuit, this flesh spacesuit. And what's interesting is because like, this technology, we weren't really given the instruction booklet for it. So there's a lot of like bells and whistles and tricks and tips that we don't really get taught. And unless we're kind of like told it by other people, like we can go our entire life without ever actually, that's why people go their entire life without, never doing pranayama once, with never learning about lucid dreaming once, with never learning about sympathetic breathing once. So, like even just like, I don't know if there's like something off the top of your mind. Like, can you think of like, because you were kind of saying, like through certain breath work, it can like activate, just kind of like different like chemicals within the brain and things like that. Like the breath work is literally, I think of it as like, it's literally like an input device where it's like you change your input through the breath and it outputs an experience. It outputs a chemical release. It outputs like a change in the organs as well. Does this make sense to you?
Oh, it's right on, 100%, man, completely true. And what I spent a lot of time studying so many different, whether it was schools of philosophy or teaching or different yogas or techniques or breathing or clean eat diets, everything, pineal gland cleanses, everything. I wanted to get my machine, this kit that we have, this vehicle, to its peak levels, and also know how far it can go esoterically and what can be achieved. And I feel fortunate that was an interest of mine. So to look at the different ways to bring that in and how you then make it efficient, I still found out you've got to find your own path to things that interest you, because I fluctuated from yoga to martial arts to weight training, and realizing, there's certain disciplines I want to stick with, but ones that will help other areas. And it's finding universal ones that everyone can benefit through: meditation, breath, and good eating. Like those three things want to be going through everything. And I think probably good breath is the one that's left to the side, because people aren't that aware of it, but that will hack your entire system.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And Joshua, thank you so much for joining us, dude. Happy to be able to have you here. And yeah, man, I'll just say on this, and we'll pass it over to Joshua, because again, between the three of us, I think there's like, we're all like Jedi characters here. So I think it's pretty cool to have us hanging out together. What was I going to say? Maybe I forgot what I was going to say here. Anyways, we'll pass over to Joshua. I'll regather my thoughts in the next little bit. Yeah, it's somewhere. I'll get it back. But Joshua, go ahead and just say hello to Craig. And dude, I know you're kind of tuned in. And man, what's your perspective on, if we want to talk about breath work and things? This is what I was going to say. If you could convince people, if you could like promote breath work as being a life hack, I think a lot more people would pay attention to it. Like, that's what I was going to say. It's just like breath work, man, but it's like, dude, it's a life hack. Like, oh, is it now? Like, yeah. Joshua, over to you, dude. Welcome and thank you. And please go ahead, share what's on your heart. Oh, hold on, Joshua. We're not getting audio too well. Let's see if we can just fix that up real quick. Go ahead and try again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Can
better.
you hear me now?
You're good. Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I just appreciate everything that you're sharing, because what I found is like what really propelled me in the spiritual awakening, kind of plunged me into it, was like having a Kundalini Awakening. And it was something that I wasn't like even into all of the phrasing and all of the understanding of the Kundalini and Kundalini yoga and, the subtle energy system and stuff like that. But in a certain sense, it was like I was kind of thrown into this new territory where I was realizing the connection between breath and consciousness. And this is just what I was thinking about, like with the nervous system, is that when this started happening, it was like this Kundalini Awakening was like starting like 8 years ago, and it happened during a really deep mushroom journey that I was on. And I started to see the pattern of the life snake and the spiral and the DNA literally inside of everything. And it's also like literally the sacred geometrical structure of how consciousness unfolds, which got me also paralleling this was when I was getting like super passionate about wellness, super passionate about like, how do you have the most optimal use of the body as a tool for spirit to express, so on and so forth. And like, it's just interesting because like, if you look at the nervous system, like look at the skeletal system and the nervous system laid out as its own thing. You can find images online. It's literally the same as a tree. You've got like the roots coming out, you've got the roots coming down below. And that was for me because I was having this really intense third eye awakening, a lot of DMT being released into my system. And yet I was still in like fight or flight. I was still like I had anxiety like all my life. And I still have it come up today. But the tool of meeting it with consciousness and breath in the moment, and like you were saying earlier, breathing down into the hara and breathing down into the root, breathing down into the belly, and activating that other aspect of the nervous system really resonates with me as like the idea that we're essentially like recalibrating our instrument to be operating at a wavelength that is in tune with nature. So it's actually like our natural state is this.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, no, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's the thing. Where like, it's, you know, breath work by itself is one thing, but you know, like just seeing you outside and everything, like breath work, you know, with your feet on the ground, barefoot in nature, like you're creating a circuit, right? So like, that's where, again, you know, like the breath work is the way, yeah, is like how we move the energy through the body. And I like what you said, Josh, where again, you know, like part of the things that I invite other people to be curious about is, you know, like what does it look like when we really optimize this human vessel? You know, like as like a vessel for spirit to be able to express itself through, like what does that really look like, right? And so like when we're bringing our awareness to the breath and we're clearing these blockages and things like that, that's where we really start opening up more of our connection with reality around us. And it just kind of takes things to another level where not only are we experiencing, you know, like deeper gratitude, but you notice things like increased synchronicity, increased vitality, increased creativity, you know, increased like just like mobility, the wanting to move and just like the intuition and everything like that. So it's interesting because I think, you know, you look at a lot of the world and Craig, we'll pass over to you, and then Joshua will pass over to you, and then we'll wrap things up at the top of the hour. And I'll just say here real quick, for everybody here, be sure to go follow Craig and Joshua. Again, both awesome guys. Both of them just have a lot to be able to bring to your community feed. So be sure to reach out to them if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you again so much, everyone, for being a part of this community broadcast. So I was just going to say real quick, you know, like when you look at the world these days, you know, one of the ways that I like to be able to use a metaphor is that everybody is actually shining the exact same amount of light. The only difference is that through our existence being here within this earth plane over time, we literally accumulate like this like mud that like covers the lens of our heart. It's like a husk that gets built up over time. So it's kind of like if you've seen the movie Soul, there's like a part where they like go and there's these lost souls and they're covered in sand, they're covered in dirt, and then they have to like blow away the sand, and then underneath it, it's like that's the soul. So it's like for people, you know, it's like based on just kind of like our programming, our diet, our social circumstances, it adds kind of like this mud, and then it's just kind of like the mental aspect, the paradigms, the social, you know, engineering. And then what happens when you start doing the breath work and you start connecting with other seekers and you start exploring bit by bit, you know, you kind of chisel away the mud, you know, chisel away the mud, chisel away that belief, chisel away that like, you know, wounded perception. And then over time, you just kind of naturally begin vibrating at the frequency that you are. Like you are that frequency. You are the frequency of ultimate love. You know, like the only thing that's different is just kind of like all of these little like illusions and obstacles that think we're anything less. But that was just something I wanted to put out there because again, I think breath work is a way to be able to help kind of like to remove the husk, to remove the dirt off the lens of our heart, which is Krishna Das actually said that once, and that's where I remember it really stuck with me. It's like we're here to remove the dust off the lens of our heart. So just imagine like just very gentle. And I think the process, you know, as much as it can be like a very interesting ride, it can also be one where each and every single day we can just do it very gently with the breath. We just kind of, and some days, you know, we may just kind of find that a little bit more dust may just land on our lens. And then, you know, you notice it and just kind of like, if you feel yourself kind of in those modes where you're just kind of like irritated and things like that, you know, like maybe that's a little bit of dust. Just take a few moments to breathe and clear that dust away from you that might have just built up today. And then tomorrow, you know, it's a fresh start kind of thing. So it's up to us to be responsible and to notice when this dirt begins to pile up, because we're the only ones that will take care of ourselves. So it is a, you know, with consciousness comes a degree of responsibility, but with that, there also comes the wisdom and the knowledge to know that we have the skills and the tools and the abilities. And a lot of that, you know, is as simple as the breath. It begins with the breath. Everything else just branches out from the breath. So Craig, I'll pass over to you, and then Joshua, let's just get into some like closing inspiration and thoughts. Craig, anything you want to share? And if that resonates with you, let me know.
Yeah, again, well, for what you're both saying, it's spot on. Very, very same view on life and on the world, and this incredible vehicle that we have to keep it cleansed and to be aware of when we're in pain or we have anxiety, and not thinking that that means that there's a problem or we are a problem. It's just noticing, oh, there's an energy there. How do I want to work with that? Oh, I'll just do some breathing into it without expecting anything from it, without forcing it away, without, you know, trying to hold on to it, even if it's a good feeling. The breath will do everything for us. It will show us to taste what impermanence is and how they're just so transitory. These feelings, these emotions, they will come, they will go. And for me, and a lot of feedback I get from my participants, is that it gives you that ability to know what that feeling is, or to know what meditation is, because the breath will clear so much in your head, your body, your emotions, and your mind. They're interlinked. They're so pulled together that if you're just a bit hungry or you've not slept well, you might be mean that day, you might be grumpy, and it's just being self-aware. Maybe I shouldn't go and see my friend who's a little vulnerable today because I might get snappy, you know. Just knowing yourself, or go and do some relaxing time, or taking that time out in nature. And I think it might be some experience for you guys, but those in sort of roles where we share out a lot and help a lot, there can be a tendency to give quite a lot and forget to refuel and know what works for people who are in this line of work, or light workers. I hang out with a lot of yoga teachers or instructors, and it seems to be a bit of a thread at times. You've got to be really aware of your own energy, especially when sharing out in the breath. It's a powerful process. There's a lot that can go on from that. So to do it somewhere like where Josh is there in his beautiful nature, you know, the trees that are giving you the oxygen, you're giving the carbon dioxide back. We're creating, again, not just a symbiotic relationship with the breath, but to nature, to life, to the force. We're taking it all in. And once we start to release those heavier emotions and we get to the subtle energy systems, again, Josh mentioning the Kundalini and what can occur with that, we can prepare our body for that. The way I've seen it through learning Kundalini yoga from the teacher's training and my own experiences is that the body's like a vessel that can stretch or contract. So if you fill a vase up with water, it's eventually going to spill out. And what the human body is a vase that can start to stretch. So you might get the shapes, you know, with Kundalini Awakenings, and you can channel a lot of energy up your spine, or with tantric practices or energetical practices, breathwork practices, retentions and holds. You can start to really tune in to the thinness of this energy, the subtleness. By the cleaner we eat, the cleaner thoughts, the cleaner emotions, then our vessel will grow. Not physically, although your myofascia does stretch, but your ability to use that light that you said before, with clean more dirt so the light can shine through easier. And from my own experiences, less ego has to go with that, or the thoughts that we hold on or cling to or we judge, they have to go if you want that vessel cleansed, because it's energetical from the mind as well. And it was seeing all these things coming together to just really take care of yourself. You're going to end up doing well for the world, because more positive light energy fills through your frequency rates, and you see that affecting the people around you, your friendship groups, opportunity. Me coming back from a festival, talking about you and the Lucidity Festival, synchronicity, here I am this evening. Like, do you know what I mean? This is based on our individual frequencies, and the higher we are by cleansing, the more joyful life's going to be for all of us.
Totally, dude. Absolutely. Beautifully said, man. And I'll just say this, and I'll pass it to Joshua. A beautiful proverb is basically the idea that if everyone swept their own doorstep, the whole world would be clean. So, you know, for everybody here, like that me time, that personal time is so important. And today we were actually doing our tarot readings today, and the first card that we pulled was an oracle card called Me Time. And it was all about me time, like all about you guys just taking care of the vessel. And as we do that, again, you know, like as we do that, we anchor in that frequency, and you know, like that frequency kind of like emulates, and then other people begin to kind of like shift into that frequency that we're on as well. So yeah, take that time for yourself, take that time for your breath. You know, for everybody here, we'll finish off just with a moment of breath, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up. But Joshua, go ahead. Any closing thoughts that you just want to be able to add into this?
Sure, that's beautiful. Yeah, my thoughts are, like you mentioned Kriyas earlier, because we were talking about Kundalini yoga. So like, and you brought up the idea of like, well, what is the true potential of this channel when we are like at that deeper level of subtlety, when we've cultivated and gathered our energy, and we've had, like, I was just doing a video earlier where another thought that comes to mind is like, when you create that space for yourself and you are clear in your boundaries, you prioritizing cleaning up your own room first is so essential, because now you're freeing up your bandwidth to create. Because like this, our central channel of like where the prana, the life force, comes in, and like our spine, the kundalini, this is literally like the staff of Hermes. It's literally your magic staff. It's literally like what you cast spells with, what you create with, how you direct your life force. Like having this cultivated and clear, and having like doing the work to like strengthen our connection to our hara and balance all of our chakras, allows us to be a clear rainbow bridge, so that like heaven on earth can create through us clearly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, being a clear rainbow bridge, which again, you know, kind of goes back to what I said earlier about being, you know, being humans, HUE, humans. You know, we are the humans of many colors, and I think sometimes, you know, we go through life, and maybe it feels like, again, because the dirt on our lens, our light's not getting shined through the spectrum in the same way, and maybe it seems like our light's a little bit dull. But you know, when we're shining, it's like, man, it's like we're each literally like walking like bodies of light, like 100% literal. Like it's not just a metaphor or anything like that. So dude, this has been awesome. Craig, thank you so much. Joshua, thank you so much.
Thank
Craig,
you both.
can you just finish it off with just like a 2-minute little like give people a micro breath practice real quick, and then we'll just add some closing notes, and then we'll wrap up the broadcast. And for everybody here, go ahead and leave some gratitude in the comments for Joshua and Craig. And Craig, over to you. Let's just finish it off with you know, practicing what we're preaching. So.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Thank you very much. And again, both of you, thank you for the conversation. It's been amazing. Really enjoyed it. There is some free breathwork videos on my Instagram channel, so you can go to the IGTV and follow free breathwork sessions on there if anyone wants to try it. And yeah, let's just do a few minutes now. So wherever you are, if you're comfortable enough to sit with a straight spine and placing one hand onto your belly and the other hand onto your heart, and just feel into where you're breathing right now, naturally, without changing, just observing. Often we want to fix things straight away or aim for perfection, but let's see where we are with no effort, just pure observation. Find where you feel the breath. Maybe the chest, maybe the belly, maybe the hips. It could be anywhere. And now soften your shoulders, releasing the myofascia in your neck, the trapezius muscles at the back, allowing the shoulder blades to fall down and the heart to roll forward. The heart leads when we drop the shoulders. We're not protecting ourselves, nothing to fear. And taking a deep breath in through the nose. We're going to sigh it out, let it go. And we're going to begin some conscious breathing. We'll do 10 breaths together with a hold at the end, and we'll just do 2, maybe 3 rounds if time permits. So to do conscious breathing, as you follow your breath now, we'll be opening the mouth so the jaw will hang open. It's not being forced, just open to the length as if you're biting a piece of fruit. And then we take a full breath into the belly. The belly rises forward, let it drop naturally down as you exhale. Now there are no pauses. When you inhale fully, the belly rises. Once it's reached its peak, just let it go again. There's no effort on your exhale, just a small effort on your inhalation. And we'll begin these 10 breaths together now, all the way in. When you're full, let it go. When it's left, come back in. And let it go. Well done. Keep that breathing going. No pauses, but there's no rush as well. There's no competition with yourself or anyone else. Find that full capacity in your lungs, in your body. That breath pours right down to the bottom of the belly. It then goes to the lungs. It then goes to the chest. It then releases. Feel the belly first, then the lungs, then the chest, then it releases. Should be around the 10 mark. 2 more full breaths together all the way in. Let it go. 1 more all the way in. Let it go. And finally take that full breath and hold that full breath within the body. So close the mouth with that oxygen, that prana, that chi in full position. Now notice how you don't have to tighten your body to allow this breath to sit in. And we're going to hold it just for 30 seconds. If you need to release, that's fine. You can breathe in and hold again. But relax the shoulders, relax the body, so tension is free. This allows energy, prana, chi, and Kundalini energy to move. If we're tight, we've got a block. And we want the energy to move free through the body. Just like a dam blocks water, tension blocks energy. So we're soft. Same way a glass holds water, no effort. And release that breath. We're going to go straight back in for the second round. Inhale. Let it go. Inhale. Let it go. Keep that going. We're going for around 15 breaths. And we'll time this together. A little bit faster on this round. You may get a little lightheaded. You may find tingling sensations. Your mouth may get a little dry. That's okay. It's all very normal. We are welcoming these new sensations without resistance. And if there is resistance, we breathe into that. We let that be there. No pushing, no rejection, no forcing. All the way in. Let it go. Wonderful. Let's do 5 more breaths. 3 more breaths. Completely fill the body. Let it go. Fill the body. Let it go. 2 more breaths. Let it go. Now on your next inhalation, fill the body up and let that breath stay in the body. Don't let it go. Soften your vessel. The heart is forward and open. Bring your awareness now, your attention to the third eye, the pineal gland, or the brain, depending on your terminology preference. Hold that energy in the top of the head. Energy follows our eye line. So if you can roll your eyes up and look to that spot, you will be assisting your point of focus. We're going to hold this breath for another 15 seconds. And now I'm going to ask you to exhale with a sound. It will sound like this. So squeeze that breath out, pulling the belly to the spine. Once it's all left, try and stay empty. So there's no breath in the body. And if you can hold that emptiness, we're going to hold for 15 seconds, starting now. Notice it may be a little bit more uncomfortable or a bit more challenging. That's fine. We recognize the level we're at. 5 more seconds. Take a deep inhalation. Fill the body, let it go. And now we're going to do a last 10 breaths real quick. It will sound like this. With 1 more hold. Let's go. Tap into your power energy, your warrior energy. Go fast with this one. Generate heat. Lightheadedness may come. Bring it in. You're fine where you are. Strong spine. Clear mind. 5 more breaths. Deep inhale. Pull the energy up to the top of the brain, the pineal gland. Hold it there. Stay full on that breath. Relax your mind. Relax any tension in the body. you may notice it's much easier to hold this breath on the third time. This is only taking us 6 minutes to do this breath practice. You may already notice the difference. Gently exhale and allow your natural breathing rhythm to come in with no control, just observation. And in this state of consciousness that you have created and generated for yourself, notice how your mind is. Is it still active? Is it more silent? There's no right or wrong answer, it's your experience. How is your physical body? Is it alive? Is it soft? Can you feel the buzzing of your cells or energy? How is your emotional state? Are you aware of your emotions? Have they disappeared? Are they clear? Or are they strong? Has it brought something up for you? And finally, how is your level of connection? Do you feel connected to life? Can you dissolve further into the breath, into feeling, into sensation and awareness? And very gently, with a feeling of gratitude for your own efforts and the breath that you are given every single day, with a gratitude to Joshua and Brendan for allowing this time to be shared and everybody who has watched, allowing a small smile to come to the face as you open your eyes, bring yourself back into this beautiful, amazing world that we share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig. That was awesome. Beautiful. That was cool. That was really cool. It's been a while since I've been able to have somebody guide me into a practice like that. So Craig, thank you, man. That was super. And I liked your prompts on the observations, especially like you said on the third one. It's like you may notice that like it's easier to hold your breath on the third one. Definitely noticed that. So yeah, that was super cool. Is there a reason why it was easier on the third one? Is that just because things are more open, or?
Yeah, man. I mean, my background in personal training really helped when I eventually came to breathwork, because you're expanding the capacity of your lungs. So they're like a rubber balloon. You know, you blow a balloon up and it's harder, and then the more you go, the bigger it inflates. It's the same with our lungs. So our lungs start to inflate more and more, which is why breathwork is ideal to do. 30 breaths before meditation or anything physical, because you're taking in more energy, more life force, more oxygen.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, dude. Well, man, we're going to get close to wrapping it up here. Joshua, I think his battery ran out on his phone, but thank you again to Joshua. Again, I'll encourage you guys to connect with both Joshua and Craig. We'll pin them in the info for this video. And again, we'll be posting this video to, I'll upload it to YouTube and I'll upload it to Spotify. So if you're looking for more of these and lots of awesome stuff still to come, check out Paradigm Shift Radio on Spotify. Go ahead, follow one of your favorite podcasts here. And yeah, we'll be back here again with more Shooting the Shift live on Mondays. And Craig, you're always welcome to be able to jump in the future. And Craig, any just closing thoughts and anything you want to be able to let people know with, like, things that you're offering that they can work with you on as well? Go ahead and just plug whatever you want.
Oh, thank you, man. And yeah, breathwork, on my page, I try to give out as much breathwork as I can. If you want any questions or comments answered, please just send me a message. I'm very open to spending time to help with that. If you have done the breathwork, just drink lots of water, even though it was a short session. Stay hydrated, stay grounded. And yeah, I'm open for anything, man. Thank you so much for having me on there. Honestly, man, I've followed your work for so many years, and it's nice we're finally getting to this point for connection. It's been brewing for me for a long time. So yeah, it's a pleasure, man. And thanks for doing what you're doing, mate. I love you. You're an inspiration. Keep doing it, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Likewise, fellow Jedi brother. And yeah, dude, I mean, just doing this here, like we'll talk more about it, but yeah, I think, just doing some more collaborative events. Like, I mean, you guys tell me, would you guys like to see some collaborative events with me and Craig and just kind of like doing more breathwork stuff that you guys might be able to join in the future? If that's something you'd like to see, drop a 777 in the chat, and even just DM us, let us know. Cause if people are looking for it, then yeah, we'll definitely do it. And man, like, this type of work is so important, because again, this is like holographic, just changes the rest of our life. And I can tell, even just like by doing this practice, like I'm gonna walk out there and I'm just gonna have like this glow to me that I'm gonna kiss my girlfriend, and I'm just gonna be like, and she'll be like, whoa, like, what'd you do, babe? Like, what happened to you? I'll be like, honey, I just did this amazing breathwork session. So it's just like breathwork. You know, it's like life hack. It'll change your life. It'll change everything. So yeah. Cool. Awesome. Seeing those 777s in the chat. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Again, thank you everyone so much. If you guys are looking to connect with the Paradigm Shift Central community, join our Discord server. You'll be getting the updates for the content that we'll be creating there. We got lots more stuff happening through the week. We got our Conscious Creator Collaborative Work Period on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. EDT. Craig, you're welcome to join in for that tomorrow if you happen to be around. Wednesdays, we have our Paradigm Shift Circle discussion. So that's a voice-only conscious discussion that we do through our Discord server. This week's topic, the question is, what does being sovereign mean to you? So this will be a group discussion. That's, again, a little bit of a different format, voice-only through our Discord. Make sure you guys join there Wednesdays, 4 p.m. EDT. And then the Thursdays at 8 p.m. EDT, we have our team podcast. This week's team podcast topic is spiritual wisdom of apocalypses. So very interesting, going to be multiple perspectives on that. And yeah, Craig, even again, if you're hopping around, I know time zones and stuff, but you're welcome to join in for any of that, dude. I love the collaboration with you. So all the links that you need for me are, again, Discord link in my profile and the info for this video. If you guys want support on Patreon, please feel free to join there as a leading member with a monthly contribution and get more support within the community and join exclusive events. And yeah, that's it. We'll be doing more broadcasts here in the future, and join us again for Shooting the Shift live Mondays at 4 p.m. And Joshua, thank you again. I can see you in the comments as well. Joshua, thank you so much. So ready to wrap it up here. Be sure to connect with Craig and Joshua, and please tag your friends, share this with people in the future, and leave your comments and support, and look forward to doing more of this in the future. So much love, and Joshua and Craig and everybody else, say farewell until next time. We love you guys. We love you.
That's the love.
Awesome. May the breath be with you. So all right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Keep it shifty, and welcome to the future. Much love.